This is so crazy. So Kathleen Kennedy's run at Lucasfilm has finally come to an end, and I want to talk about it. Before I get into my thoughts on this, I want to give a quick disclaimer to everybody that I am not in any way trying to alienate any side of the fandom. I think both sides are equally as important and should be respected as part of the community. And if you genuinely feel like I've crossed some lines or I've come off a bit disrespectful, I already am apologizing in advance. And I really hope that with this new era of Star Wars, we are kind of hopefully closer at becoming more unified after all the division that we've encountered. Okay, now that I got that out the way,
do it.
Let's fucking go! We did it! We did it, guys. We did it. We lasted long enough to see Kathleen Kennedy leave. It was a long time coming. Goodness gracious. But we finally got here. And I'm not as excited as I thought I would be because I am still kind of concerned. I think a lot of that comes from some scars that some of us are still trying to have healed. I don't think these scars will ever be healed, actually, but there's a bit of trauma with everything that a part of the fandom has gone through. So yes, I'm on the side that's celebrating Kathleen Kennedy's exit. And a lot of that is because I did not like majority of the decisions that she made in her leadership role. And it's caused a lot of stress and a lot of frustration and a lot of disappointment because this is a brand that I hold so close to my heart. Like, it goes beyond just liking lightsabers and a cool story. It's a comfort blanket for me. It's something that I grew up with, watching with my dad, and I took that as like such a bonding moment and something that I would love to hopefully do with my future kids. And it just sucks to see something that you've known since childhood just reshape into something unrecognizable, and that goes against what it originally was. And I understand that in franchises things are going to change all the time. That's a given. But it felt more destructive and it felt more intentional. And that's where it really hurts. So I'm going to touch on some topics, namely being things that I enjoyed under Kathleen's run, because I don't think she's this big bad wolf, but I really didn't like the way she handled this brand. But I will give my respect where respect's due. So I'm going to mention things that I did like from Kathleen. And I will also mention a very long list of things that I did not like. Now, mind you, I am not the best at these kinds of think pieces, so chances are it's going to be a little choppy. But honestly, I'm just shooting the shit, saying whatever's in my head, coming out, and hopefully it's digestible enough for you guys. Now, once I'm done talking about my likes and dislikes of Kathleen's rule, I will also get into what I think or what my concerns are given the future of Star Wars, the possibilities, and a bit of things that I'm a little worried about. And if at any point I do come off emotionally charged, I'm very sorry. I don't want this video to be that way, but this is one of those topics that have quite the impact. I'm sorry if I get a little out of hand. I'll try to keep it toned down. What did I like? No, I'm joking. What I liked under Kathleen's rule, I would probably have to say, for starters, definitely Rogue One. I think Rogue One was a fantastic, modernized Star Wars film, and it was the best thing that we could have gotten after a long time of not having Star Wars films. Which will lead me to my later point of something that I don't really like regarding to Rogue One, but I'll save that for now. Another thing that I really liked was the revival of the Clone Wars. I think that was important for a lot of fans who even probably grew up watching that on Cartoon Network, and then it got signed to Disney and it just fucking disappeared out of nowhere. I know a lot of people did not like the Solo movie. I kind of liked it as if it were a separate Star Wars story, which it kind of was. It didn't really feel like that was Han, and obviously not because of the way the character looked or anything. That didn't matter to me, but I don't know. Like, just something just felt really unfamiliar with that film, but I still enjoyed it as a standalone film, if that makes sense. What else did I fucking like? I mean, we still got some Lego series. That was kind of cool. Thankfully that didn't just like discontinue. I am also appreciative for the games that were released, not all of them. Like the Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order games, those are really, really cool. I think we're gonna end it soon because we're losing our minds. Is this where you have to go, Ariel? I liked Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, but not as much as I liked the OG Lego Star Wars, because that is my shit. Lego Star Wars is my shit, guys. Like, that is my favorite game. That's what got me into gaming. I freaking love gaming. And it started with that. If I had to think about what else I really liked under her leadership, it's kind of tricky. And to be honest, in a sense, I can understand that she was trying to be a bit of a visionary. She was trying to be a bit progressive. And to that, I can kind of respect it and appreciate it, being a woman and all. But the way that she went about it was just abysmal. Like, that was textbook not how you should do that. It didn't need to be the way it was. It didn't need to go the route it did. But I mean, I guess I could kind of appreciate the idea before it turned into what it did. Like, I'm trying so hard to be nice. I guess another thing that I could kind of compliment Kathleen Kennedy on is her... One thing I could also kind of appreciate is the idea, not so much the execution, but the idea of expanding the Star Wars universe to branch into other stories that are not relating to the original trilogy and what comes after that. Or I guess the Skywalker Saga. I don't know, I don't like to call it that. My knowledge on the expanded universe lore is not that good yet, so I'm not sure if there were a shit ton of other stories that also went beyond and outside of the Skywalker Saga. Because all I know are the books and the stories that involve the legacy characters, because that's what I was the most interested in. So I can appreciate that we were going that route with Ahsoka, even though we kind of got Anakin. Rebels, The Acolyte. I'm not the biggest fan of The Acolyte, but I can appreciate what it was trying to be, if that makes sense. I just wish it went about it differently. Man, what a time to be a Star Wars fan, am I right? Oh yeah, I also really liked Visions as well. That was kind of a cool take. So there's also probably some stuff that I am missing. Again, I didn't really prepare much of what I wanted to say. It's all just kind of coming out as I go. Given all of that, I think it's time to segue onto hopefully what's not too long of a part of the video where I discuss the things I don't like.
Hey, dear.
Oh my god, where do I begin? Alright, first of all... do I gotta say it? The sequel trilogy.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
What happened? What? So, what I really didn't like about the sequel trilogy was the fact that, it was so far from what I knew existed with the expanded universe lore. And I had a lot of, high hopes that it would take some sort of inspiration from these amazing stories that have been around for so long that a lot of us fans who know about this universe really enjoy. And so when I got something that was just so completely far off from what I thought it would be, it was kind of gutting. But then I tried to accept it. I really did. But it's just you got a story of a family. Why the fuck are you bringing in characters that nobody knows or cares about? And then completely sidetrack these legacy characters. Just fucking throw them to the side. They don't matter. Bitch, that's what I'm trying to watch the movie for? This is supposed to be my continuation of their story that I want to keep watching, not somebody else's story. I've said this before multiple times, and I really mean it. If Rey, Finn, everybody else, if they had their own standalone story that was not related to the Skywalker story, I would honestly have enjoyed it so much more. I would have enjoyed it 1000%. it was just a really weird business move to make a movie like that. Knowing fans from like so long are waiting how many years for a movie about their favorite characters? Yeah, about 10 years we were waiting for hopefully what would be a continued story of our favorite characters. Hopefully they're kids. No. It's just, I could go on forever about the sequel trilogy. I can, honestly. There are things I kind of like, and there's so many things that I have a strong hatred for. Kylo Ren being named Ben Solo, when, like, obviously Luke had a stronger connection and relationship to Obi-Wan. That's why in the EU lore, Luke Skywalker's kid is named Ben, not Han Solo and Leia's. I'm just like things like that just really get to me. But okay, so that was just a sequel trilogy. By the way, guys, quick interruption. I hope you stick around more because I am really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can unbox finally. So I can unbox my lightsaber, my very first lightsaber that I purchased all the way in 2024. I have proof of that if you guys need to see it. I held on to this bad boy for so long because I really wanted to save it for when I started YouTube, and I wanted to save it for a milestone, and I feel like that's perfect. So hopefully you guys stick around for that, and if anybody else wants to help me get to that point, you know what to do. But nonetheless, thank you anyways for just listening, for just being here, honestly, because I appreciate that just as much. And I'm really sorry if I'm going off in such a long tangent and I'm rambling. It's just I don't have a lot of people that I could really talk about this with. And I've never really publicly expressed myself regarding the whole Kathleen Kennedy situation. And so I'm just going to take my opportunity. And I just want to see if you all agree with it or not. If you guys clicked off after 2 minutes, then it is what it is. And if you guys are still here, thank you so much. And hopefully we could have a great conversation about this. So, another thing that I didn't like. I loved Rogue One. Absolutely adored it. I watched it twice in theaters, and I don't really watch movies twice in theaters. And one thing that really pisses me off is that Rogue One is really starting to feel like a bait and switch. Like, it was a great bait to reel us all in. Like, hey, like, Force Awakens was kind of meh, but look, they still respect the Lord. They're still capable of making an insanely good story. Let's give it another try. And I've done that with every fucking project. Every project, I'm like, okay, if they could do Rogue One, I have full faith that they could probably do something amazing again. Then we got this, then we got that, then we got and I'm like, oh my god, we're doomed. We're doomed. Like, reality started to sink in after a couple of years after that. Yeah, Rogue One feeling like a bait and switch. It's crazy how much chances a lot of us disappointed and burned.
Oh, I hate you.
Forgive me, Master.
I love you, Anakin.
And heartbroken fans have given Disney Star Wars. It really does suck looking back at it. 14 years is a long fucking time, guys. We've just been through a lot. Not to say all the projects were bad. Like, again, we've had Andor season 2, though. Season 2, woo! The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. Like, it was such an interesting time because when Mandalorian season 1 and 2 came out, I kind of felt like we're finally being listened to. We're finally being taken care of. We're finally starting to be a bit more respected under Disney Star Wars. And that felt like a monumental moment for us, you know? I was really excited, and I was looking forward to the future ahead. But then, there were some pretty dark times. Like season 3. What the fuck? I'll never get over season 3, bro. What the hell was that? Okay, apart from what I just mentioned, another thing I didn't like, Galaxy's Edge. Like, from a business standpoint, I guess I can kind of understand why you made that choice to center it around the sequel trilogy. You know, there's probably a lot of new, young fans, like kids, that just started watching Star Wars by starting off with the sequel trilogy. better graphics, you know, like I don't imagine any 5-year-old really watching the original trilogy unless their very well cultured parent or sibling sits them down to watch it. Do you know what I mean? So I can kind of understand that. And I kind of understand that at this point they're trying to rebrand. Unfortunately, they were rebranding Star Wars to fit what they were creating. And so I can understand that a park you made, you wanted it to represent modern Star Wars. At least the Disney version of Star Wars. But again, to completely disregard like a whole sector of fans that literally have grown up with the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, and not only have grown up, it is very well possible as well that you're gonna have young adults and teenagers and even kids that still watched those movies and liked it. There are also Disney park adults, like, let's be for real, they exist. I think the better route would have just been to facilitate Galaxy's Edge for everybody. I mean, like, it's not rocket science, dude. You could have had, like, parts from all different kinds of trilogies to have featured in the park. Do you know? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't need to just be tailored to one trilogy. And the most recent trilogy. And the most hated trilogy. Yeah, I just found that move a little weird. Very missed opportunity. And now, Galaxy's Edge is completely being revamped. Like, Kathleen Kennedy's seat is probably still warm, and they're already making changes to completely, like, get rid of the whole sequel era aesthetic. And I think that's actually really hilarious. And I think it screams to me that somebody or some people have been dying to make that decision and make that change, but they just couldn't because Kathleen was there and she probably fought against it. And I'm pretty sure Galaxy's Edge will do a lot better. A lot better. Another thing I didn't like, I honestly feel like Star Wars video games freaking died. Like, whatever happened to that? Seriously. I feel like the only really enjoyable games that we've had, for me at least, were probably Battlefront, like 1 and 2. Also, we need a third one. Where's the third one? Again, kind of the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor series. Like, I'm a gamer, guys. I deadass stream on Twitch. I've been playing games since I was like 6 years old, but I cannot for the life of me think of any other Star Wars games that are worth mentioning right now. I'm probably missing some important ones. If I am, I'm sorry. Then we've got games that we're just not seeing. Like, I'm still waiting for Eclipse. I was extremely excited for Eclipse. I don't know. But back then, we just had so much of a variety of games. Knights of the Old Republic, like, oh my god. We've had so much freaking cool games. Like, that made our childhood so much more fun. And not only that, I'm pretty sure people above being a child, like older than being a child, were also enjoying those kinds of games. But it's just like now, it's just weird. It's just weird how, like, little games we're getting. I don't know. Hopefully that changes really soon because, yeah, that was a big part of Star Wars too. Okay, it's no secret that I do not like a lot of the decisions made behind the latest series and movies that have come out. I honestly think a lot of the decisions that were made in terms of producing and directing and story writing for a lot of series and movies, it was very lackluster. Not very well thought out. There were a lot of plot holes. There were a lot of weird executive decisions made, such as why have two producers come in for a trilogy? Like, that makes no sense. That have different visions. Do you know what I mean? Different stories they want to tell. That is insane to me that happened. Like, I'm still so, like, flabbergasted by all this stuff. Yeah, again, like, the way things just had such good potential to be so successful, and then they just flop. Like Mandalorian Season 3, the Kenobi series, the way that Acolyte was marketed and written. Yeah, it was just interesting. It was just really interesting seeing how all that unfolded. Okay, the last thing that I'm probably going to touch upon, and mind you, I'm pretty sure there's a lot that I'm just not mentioning, but to save us all time. The last one is probably the most important one, and it would have to be her marketing strategy and her marketing tactics. I understand the progressive vision that she had and wanted to include and have characters and stories that everybody could resonate with. However, for example, dare I say it, having a Forces female shirt and having things in interviews like this.
This is arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. This is going to be a talking point.
Is it going to be a talking point?
I'm sure so.
Because nerds are gay.
Well,
Yeah.
some nerds.
But in my world, nerds are gay.
Okay.
C-3PO is straight.
They're a couple. That's what I think.
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
Oh, interesting.
It just didn't need to be. Like, that didn't need to happen. That didn't need to be a thing, you know? If you wanted to include stories that were for minority groups or women, if that was your target, as was very much made obvious, I just think there's a better way to go about it, you know? Like, it's almost as if they did it while sticking up a middle finger at, like, just the male side of Star Wars fans, and I thought that was really weird. Like, you didn't have to mistreat one side of the fandom to have another side of the fandom feel more included. Do you know what I mean? Like, that didn't need to happen. I don't like how the second someone had something negative to say about any female character, like Rey, for example, I did not like how powerful she was. Like, it makes no sense to me. I mean, without any training. But I know if I were a male that said that, I would get so much heat and be called a misogynist or, you know, be called all kinds of names. And it's just, I think a lot of people are too heated to really take in what some people are saying with their opinions, to really digest it a little bit, and then understand what is being meant. And I think a lot of Kathleen's direction with Star Wars and, again, vision and marketing, things like that, I think a lot of that fueled these kinds of negative reactions, these kinds of arguments, these kinds of defense mode responses and quick attack mode responses to something that honestly is a very normal opinion, I would think. I don't like how she completely excluded the fact that there are so many strong female characters in Star Wars. Well, if you're looking at it from expanded universe. And I think she could have really done a kick-ass job if she had just gotten inspiration from those stories. Like, all it does is it takes a quick Google search. There's so many amazing characters with amazing stories, you know? And it's kind of like she ignored the already existing strong female characters already in Star Wars, like the canon universe. Like, obviously Leia and Padme, Asajj, Hera, Sabine, Ahsoka. Like, we had already so many strong characters. Like, are we for real? I'm pretty sure there's so much more that I'm still forgetting. I don't know. It's just weird. What she was doing was creating such a division between the fandom and dichotomizing the fandom based on something that did not need to be so forced, you know? Like, it could have been done more tasteful. I don't know. I'm all for inclusion. I'm all for representation. But when you do it at the expense, at the emotional expense of a whole other part of the fandom, it's just kind of like, was that necessary? Honestly, Kathleen Kennedy might go down as one of the worst executives to cause a collapse and to dichotomize an entire fan base of an already well-established and very successful IP. And that sucks. I actually feel really bad that that will probably be her legacy. And it'll forever confuse me as to why she didn't try to take in outside opinions, you know, from the very loud comments and reception that Disney Star Wars has received. I just don't understand why she wouldn't take at least some of that feedback. And I think a lot of that has to do with having a really high ego and being really stubborn. And those are not traits that, unfortunately, leaders should have in the kind of role that she was in, for the kind of brand that she was managing. Like, it's just crazy how we got here, truthfully. Now, all in all, I wish nothing but the best for Kathleen Kennedy. I do not despise her. I don't hate her. I just really hate the direction and the decisions that she's made. But at the end of the day, I'm honestly happy to just move forward and see where we go from here. Now, to end this video, I kind of want to talk about the new transition of leadership in Star Wars. Disney Star Wars, I should keep calling it, because there's a very big distinction now. And one of my main talking points will be about Dave Filoni co-running Star Wars. And I understand that that is a massive win for a lot of people. I genuinely love Dave Filoni. I love his work. I think he's exceptionally well at what he does, and I think his storytelling is just amazing, and I think his understanding and his knowledge of Star Wars is nothing but impressive, you know? And I love his work. I love his work on the Clone Wars. I love his work on the Rebels. I love his work on Avatar: The Last Airbender that I don't think people talk about enough. But all that being said, considering that he was the creative director before this new leadership role, I honestly am a tiny bit concerned, just a little bit concerned with the next direction of Star Wars. So there's no turning back. Obviously, we're gonna be expanding way more. We're gonna be seeing all kinds of new stories. And Star Wars already is kind of unrecognizable, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I just think that we can no longer really compare things like we did with the original trilogy, because it just goes so much more beyond that now. So many different types of stories are being made in so many different kinds of ways. That being said, though, I didn't really like the Ahsoka series. Okay, I should actually probably clarify a bit. It's not that I didn't like it, it's just that I didn't like some parts of it. But for the most part, I did binge it. I was excited to see every episode once it was released and to see where the story went. It was getting very interesting, and I loved the characters that they introduced, and I loved the kind of story that we were getting. But yeah, I think in this moment, I'm specifically kind of thinking on the points that I really did not like of the Ahsoka series. But as a show, I did enjoy it. I didn't like it. It didn't feel like an extension of Rebels, and it just... I'm trying really hard to choose my words carefully, because I know there's a lot of like strong Kathleen Kennedy stands, a lot of strong Dave Filoni stands. Like, I completely get that. But I did not agree at all with the decision to make Sabine Force sensitive. I did not agree with that decision at all. I think it really undermines her already unique background of being a female Mandalorian, grouped up with already Force users, right? We had Ezra, we had Kanan, and Ahsoka. But it was really cool because this group also was a bit diverse, because we had Hera as a pilot, we had Zeb as whatever the fuck he was, and we had your astromech droid Chopper, a lovely war criminal. And I just really enjoyed that we could go beyond Force sensitive characters, right? But lately in Star Wars, it's just been feeling like everyone can be a Jedi. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, like, yeah, everybody has midichlorians and whatever, or something like that, but it's just feeling like saturated, you know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit of a saturation going on, and I feel like it's gonna start causing a little bit of like fatigue, like Force fatigue. That can be a little thing. Ooh. in the series and the movies, right? I also didn't like, again, how strong she suddenly became, like, in the last episode. I did not like the fact that Sabine could survive a stab wound from a lightsaber along with other characters that could survive stab wounds from a lightsaber. It's just like, why is this a thing? Why? This is like the ultimate weapon. Now it's the equivalent to a fucking knife. I'm just gonna say it. It feels like it's a freaking knife, a pocket knife that you pull out and jab. Will you survive? Very much likely. That's what it starts to feel like. And on top of that, something that I noticed that Dave does differently is that he focuses more on like the mythical kind of magical kind of side of Star Wars ever since the Clone Wars. And I'm not entirely sure what that entails for the future of Star Wars, creative wise. I don't think we're in the shitter. I don't think it's gonna get any worse than what we've already have it as. And it's Dave Filoni. Like, he cares about this brand very much. He worked under George, so it's not like he's gonna make all these kinds of crazy things that don't line up to what Star Wars is. I don't believe that. But I am kind of like, it's very possible we're gonna get like different taste of Star Wars, and I don't know how to feel about that yet. Maybe it's very well possible that's not the route he'll take. I don't know. I think I'm kind of like all over the place. I think I'm still kind of processing this. I didn't really think too far ahead before making this video. Like I said, I just hit record and I'm yapping away. So it's very possible there are talking points that I'm missing or good arguments that I'm not thinking of right now. So again, I'm very curious to see what you guys would say in the comments. But yeah, nonetheless, I am very much hopeful for Star Wars, and I hope we move toward a version where all of us are satisfied, and hopefully we become a bit more unified. And I completely am 100% in agreement that we're all gonna have our own opinions, our likes and dislikes. I could like the Clone Wars, somebody I could be close with maybe doesn't, but that doesn't mean you're not a Star Wars fan. That doesn't mean you're this and that. It doesn't mean that I'm a better fan than you, or you know what I mean? Like, I want to get rid of that as much as possible, and I really hope we get to that point. I'm tired of being afraid to speak my opinion online, and then I get shitted for, you know what I mean? Like, Star Wars is such a group of passionate people. We are all so strongly passionate about this brand, and I think it's beautiful. But damn, you got your annoying moments. You know what I mean? I think as fans from both sides, we got to do better. We do. And I'm hopeful for that. And I'm hopeful for Star Wars. And I don't know. I'm very curious with what's going to happen. I can't wait to look back at this video like 10 years from now and be like, no! Like that meme from Interstellar. So yeah, it's very interesting. Super duper interesting. Again, I'm sorry if this was like all over the place, but it feels so good to have like a place that I could talk about it and hopefully get some responses to it, or people that I feel like I can talk about this with. Okay, I've rambled for a very long time. Hopefully your ears have not fallen off. But no, may the force be with you guys. I love you guys. And thank you again for tuning into my video and to giving me and my video a chance. And honestly, onward and upward. I really hope we're going to be in a better place, like, as a community, not only just as a brand. Thanks again for tuning in. Okay, that's where I go now. Bye.